Mornings at the hotel began, as usual, with the noise of guests arriving in the lobby. Some were in a hurry for breakfast. Others were heading for the exit with their suitcases, leaving their room. The staff was working hard to ensure cleanliness and comfort, which has always been one of the main characteristics of this establishment. It was one of the best hotels in town, known for its service and luxury. However, on this morning, none of the employees or guests even suspected that they would witness an event that would later turn into a story that would be discussed for a long time. Keanu Reeves, known for his modesty and love of simplicity, arrived at the hotel he had created himself a few years ago. It was his way of creating a place where people could find comfort and coziness, regardless of their status or background. He rarely disclosed his involvement in this project, preferring to stay in the shadows and let the place speak for itself through service. This morning, he decided to visit the hotel incognito to make sure everything was working as he had planned. Keanu was dressed in his usual style, simple jeans, a t-shirt, and a cap. He arrived in a regular car, leaving it in the parking lot and entering the lobby. His appearance did not attract attention. He seemed to be just another one of the many guests. But that was exactly his purpose. He wanted to see how his hotel operated without having to announce his presence. Entering the lobby, Keanu stopped for a moment to look around. The space was filled with light that streamed in through the large windows, illuminating the modern furniture and elegant decor. It was a place he had envisioned as a haven for those seeking peace and comfort. However, despite the fact that everything looked perfect, he always believed that the true test of any establishment was its staff and the way they treated their guests. Keanu took a seat in the corner of the lobby, where there were comfortable chairs and a small table. He sat down with his cap on his lap and began to watch what was happening around him. He liked to remain invisible, just sit and watch how people interacted, how the staff worked, how the guests spent their time. All this was a way for him to feel the atmosphere of the place he created. The staff in the lobby worked as usual, clearly and professionally. The concierge helped guests with restaurant reservations and organizing excursions, and the receptionist at the front desk smiled and answered questions and fulfilled requests quickly. Waiters brought drinks for those sitting in the lounge area. Everything looked harmonious, and it gave Keanu a certain amount of satisfaction. But suddenly he noticed two guards discussing something, looking in his direction. Keanu did not pay much attention to this. He realized that his appearance did not match the typical image of a VIP guest. However, after a few minutes, the guards began to approach him. They looked polite, but focused, as if they were about to accomplish an important task. As they approached, Keanu felt a slight tension. He knew something unexpected was about to happen. The guards stopped next to him, and although their words were inaudible to the others, the look on their faces said they did not recognize him. They apparently decided that he was a random visitor who had no right to be in the hotel lobby. Their posture was confident, and they were probably sure that they were just doing their job. Keanu remained calm and polite. He listened to them, trying to explain the situation, but it seemed to only increase their suspicions. The guards insisted that he leave the premises. Their determination was evident, and they were unwilling to risk leaving him in the lobby. People in the lobby began to pay attention to the scene. Some guests who recognized Keanu started exchanging surprised looks. They couldn't believe that the hotel staff didn't recognize him. Others just watched, not understanding what was happening. The atmosphere in the room became tense, and Keanu could feel it. He decided not to create a conflict. He had always been impressed by the importance of calm and kindness, even in difficult situations. He stood up from his chair, took his cap, and walked to the reception desk. His movements were calm and confident, as if he knew exactly how to handle the situation. Keanu decided to address the receptionist to confirm his identity and avoid further misunderstanding. The security guards who accompanied him looked a bit confused, but did not back down. They continued to perform their duties, even though they did not realize that they were facing the hotel owner. All this was happening in front of the guests, who were now watching with even more interest. At the reception desk, the receptionist saw Keanu and immediately recognized him. Her face expressed surprise and embarrassment when she realized what had happened. She quickly explained to the guards who he was and apologized to Keanu for the misunderstanding. The guards looked embarrassed when they realized their mistake. They apologized to him, but he just smiled and thanked them for their vigilance. This situation, although it started as a misunderstanding, proved that the hotel's security system was working. Keanu decided not to take offense and not to make a big deal out of it. His calmness and friendliness once again emphasized why he is so loved and respected not only by his fans but also by those who work with him. After the situation in the hotel lobby ended on a positive note, Keanu Reeves left the premises, but the incident did not go unnoticed. Guests who watched the incident began discussing it among themselves. Some even managed to take a few photos and videos, which soon appeared on social media. People wrote about how Keanu Reeves remained calm and friendly even in such an awkward situation. This story quickly went viral. The internet exploded with comments and posts. People expressed their admiration for the actor's behavior. His modesty and calmness once again won the hearts of millions. One popular social media post described how Keanu simply smiled and thanked the guards instead of being indignant or using his status. This caused a wave of support and admiration in the comments. Some users recalled other stories about Keanu, adding that this situation only confirms his reputation as one of the most humble and human celebrities in Hollywood. At the same time, the hotel also received a huge amount of attention. People were interested in the establishment owned by such a person, and many even wanted to visit it. The lobby incident was an important lesson for the hotel staff. After that, the administration conducted training sessions for all employees to avoid similar situations in the future. The security guards who mistakenly decided to escort Keanu out also took part in the training. They sincerely apologized to the actor, but he took it in good faith, noting that their vigilance was correct, even if they made a mistake. The hotel management decided to use the incident to improve the service. New standards for interacting with guests were introduced, especially in cases where there is doubt about their presence. This was part of a larger initiative aimed at improving the quality of service. For Keanu, this day was another confirmation of how important it is to stay true to your principles. He did not seek publicity, but the situation became known thanks to witnesses and their publications. Journalists began to write articles about this event, using it as an example to discuss the themes of modesty, kindness, and the importance of humanity even in the world of show business. In an interview, Keanu said that for him it was just another day, and he did not consider himself a hero. However, his words, as always, sounded sincere and inspiring. He emphasized that even small acts of kindness can have a big impact. The hotel, which received a lot of attention after the incident, decided to use this event to create new initiatives. It was decided to organize a charity fund, part of the proceeds of which would be used to help people in need. This foundation was named after the simple human values that Keanu promoted. Guests who visited the hotel often asked about Keanu and wanted to know more about the history of the establishment. This created an additional wave of interest, and the marketing team decided to tell more about the hotel's philosophy. Each room now had a small booklet describing the history of the establishment and emphasizing the values of hospitality, respect, and compassion. Guests who visited the hotel after the incident left positive feedback, emphasizing the excellent atmosphere and service. Many of them noted that they were inspired by the idea of the establishment and felt like they were part of something more than just a luxury stay. Some even offered their ideas for improving the service or organizing charity events. One of the guests wrote, "It's not just a hotel, it's a place where you feel at home. There is an atmosphere of kindness and care here, and you can feel it in everything, from the staff smile to every detail in the room." After this experience, Keanu decided to get even more involved in the management of the hotel. Although he trusted his team, he also realized that his involvement could inspire employees and guests. He started visiting the hotel regularly, communicating with the staff, and even participating in training sessions for new employees. In addition, he initiated the creation of a special event for regular guests and employees. This event was intended not only to celebrate the hotel's achievements, but also to emphasize the importance of humanity and compassion. At the first such event, which was attended by both employees and guests, Keanu gave a speech on how everyone can make the world a better place. This incident at the hotel was a lesson for many. It showed that even a small misunderstanding can turn into a positive experience if you approach it with the right attitude. Keanu proved that real strength is kindness and humility, which have a huge impact on others. His example inspired not only the hotel's employees and guests, but also people around the world who learned about this story. It has become a reminder that humanity and kindness are always valued, regardless of circumstances or status. After the story about Keanu Reeves and the incident in the hotel lobby went viral, attention to the establishment increased significantly. People from all over the world were interested in the hotel owned by the actor and wanted to see with their own eyes the place where such an unusual incident occurred. But for Keanu, this situation became not only a way to attract attention, but also an opportunity to do something more for people who were looking for inspiration and support. Keanu always saw his hotel as more than just a place to stay. His goal was to create a space where people could find comfort, coziness, and even spiritual renewal. After the lobby incident, he realized that it could also be a place that inspires kindness and humanity. One of the first decisions he made after the incident was to rethink the hotel's mission. He invited designers, psychologists, and hospitality experts to create a new concept that would combine comfort with the values of compassion and kindness. The hotel spaces were updated with elements that symbolized unity and harmony. For example, a small fountain with the inscription, "Kindness begins here." In each room, guests could now find small books or quotes that inspired reflection and positive actions. A special area for meditation and relaxation was also created where guests could unwind and restore their inner balance. The hotel was transformed into a place that provided not only physical, but also emotional comfort. Impressed by how a small act of kindness can change lives, Keanu decided to expand the hotel's charitable initiatives. He established a program that allowed part of the hotel's revenue to be allocated to social projects. This included support for local shelters, homeless programs, and initiatives to provide educational opportunities for children from poor families. One of the most successful initiatives was called Hospitality with a Heart. It meant that for every night a guest spent at the hotel, a portion of the money went to support a specific charity. The guests could choose where to direct these funds, making them part of the initiative. The feedback was incredible. Many people wrote that they now felt that their stay at the hotel made a difference to someone else. Keanu also turned his attention to how his hotel could impact the local community. He began working with local entrepreneurs, farms, and artisans to provide the hotel with sustainable products and crafts. The hotel's restaurant now offered dishes made exclusively from local ingredients, and furniture and room decor were ordered from local artisans. This not only supported the region's economy, but also created a sense of authenticity for guests. They could feel connected to the local culture even while staying in a luxury hotel. The decision was also well received on social media, where people praised the hotel for its environmental and social responsibility. To make the hotel stay even more special, Keanu decided to organize regular events for guests. This included open-air movie nights, which showed not only Hollywood blockbusters, but also films by independent directors with positive and inspiring stories. There were also masterclasses in meditation, yoga, and art therapy. One of the most popular events was the Day of Good Deeds. On this day, guests were offered to take part in various volunteer projects, from helping local shelters to planting trees in the city park. These events were an opportunity for guests not only to relax, but also to do something useful for the community. Many said that these moments made their stay unforgettable. Hotel employees were also inspired by the changes. They felt that their work now had more meaning. The atmosphere among the team became more cohesive, and everyone worked with even more dedication. They could see how the changes in the hotel affected the guests, and it gave them pride in their work. Guests who came back to the hotel left rave reviews. They talked about how the special details and emphasis on kindness created an atmosphere that was different from other places. Some even wrote that after staying here, they started thinking more about how they could help others in their lives. Keanu often personally participated in events organized by the hotel. He remained humble and open while interacting with guests and staff. His presence was an inspiration to all who saw him. He also continued to be the kind of person who made it a point to create a space where everyone felt important. This part of the Keanu Reeves hotel story showed how one small incident can be a catalyst for big changes. The hotel became more than just a place to stay. It became a space where kindness and humanity became core values. Guests and staff felt like they were part of something important, and that made their experience special. Keanu proved once again that real influence comes through actions, not words. After successfully rethinking the concept of the Keanu Reeves Hotel and introducing new initiatives, the place began to attract the attention of not only guests but also international media. The hotel has become an example of how kindness and humanity can become the foundation of business. This became the starting point for a new phase of development, going global. Keanu realized that the story of his hotel could inspire others, so he decided to expand its influence. One of the first ideas that his team came up with was to organize conferences and seminars on social responsibility, kindness, and sustainable development. These events brought together entrepreneurs, activists, artists, and everyone who shared the values at the heart of the hotel. At one of these conferences, Keanu gave a speech that became a landmark. He said that every business, regardless of scale, can have a positive impact on the world. His words were met with thunderous applause, and the conference became a source of ideas for many participants who later began to implement similar initiatives in their companies. One of the most ambitious projects was the idea of creating small hotel branches in different cities around the world. But these were not just hotels. Each new location was connected to the local culture and communities. Keanu personally traveled to visit these places and meet the locals, understand their needs, and integrate them into the concept of each new establishment. For example, in Tokyo, the hotel was designed in a traditional Japanese style, with elements that symbolized harmony and balance. At the same time, a portion of the hotel's revenues was used to support young Japanese artists. In Nairobi, the hotel supported local educational programs by creating libraries and providing scholarships to children from poor families. Keanu also decided that his hotel should become a place where people not only relax, but also learn something new. He launched a series of workshops and lectures on ecology, self-development, art, and technology. Guests could take part in drawing, cooking, or even programming workshops. One of the most successful projects was dedicated to environmental awareness. The hotel organized an event where guests could take part in planting trees in local parks. This initiative not only helped the environment, but also fostered community among guests who found like-minded people and friends during such events. Keanu also believed that modern technology could be used to amplify the impact of good deeds. He initiated the creation of a mobile application for hotel guests. The app allowed guests to follow all of the hotel's initiatives, vote for charitable projects, receive notifications about events, and even submit ideas for new projects. One of the app's features allowed guests to see in real time how the money they donated to charity was being used. This created transparency and trust, which was important to many people. Each new guest brought their own story to the hotel, and many of these stories became part of the overall narrative. People shared how they had been inspired by Keanu's example and how they had started to change their lives and help others. One woman wrote in a testimonial, "I came here just to relax, but I left the hotel feeling like I could do something more. I went back home and started organizing small events to support the elderly in my town." These stories did not leave Keanu indifferent. He often read the reviews and even responded to some of them, thanking people for their words and for sharing their experiences. The media continued to write about the hotel, and it increasingly became a symbol of positive change. Well-known magazines such as Time and National Geographic published articles about the project's impact on society. One such article was titled, "How Keanu Reeves Shows Business Can Be Good." The hotel had a large number of followers on social media who actively followed the news and initiatives. This created an additional effect. People started participating in charity projects themselves and even created their own initiatives, inspired by Keanu's example. Toward the end of this stage of the hotel's development, Keanu realized that his mission was far from over. He started thinking about how to make an even bigger impact. Ideas included creating training centers for young people, collaborating with universities, and even launching a documentary that would tell the story of the hotel's journey and the people who were part of that story. The hotel was no longer just a place to stay. It became a movement that inspired people all over the world. And at the center of it all was Keanu Reeves, a man who proved that even small actions can have a huge impact if they are done from the heart. After transforming his hotel into a unique space of kindness and compassion, Keanu Reeves realized that his mission was just beginning. The idea of creating a place where every guest would feel important became the impetus for the creation of a global movement that promotes humanity, mutual aid, and sustainable development. This part of the story tells how his initiative grew beyond the scope of one hotel and spread around the world. The first thing Keanu did after the success of his hotels was to establish the Kindness Foundation. The purpose of this fund was to finance projects that help people and communities around the world. The main feature of the fund was that anyone could apply for a grant for their project related to charity, environment, or education. The fund was financed partly through hotel revenues and partly through donations from partners and guests. The money was used for a wide variety of projects, building schools in remote regions, providing access to clean water in developing countries, supporting young entrepreneurs, and creating rehabilitation centers for people who have experienced traumatic events. One of the foundation's first initiatives was to open schools for girls in rural India. These schools provided not only education, but also created conditions for self-development, which was a breakthrough for many young women. To popularize the foundation's ideas, Keanu launched a global campaign called Kindness in Action. Its goal was to inspire people around the world to do small acts of kindness in their everyday lives. The campaign included a series of videos telling stories of how even a small act of kindness can make a difference in the lives of others. One of the most touching videos was about an elderly man who, thanks to the support of volunteers, started teaching music to children. His small initiative grew into a large project that united the community around the idea of art and education. Famous people joined the campaign and became its ambassadors. They told their stories of good deeds, encouraged their fans to join the movement, and supported the foundation's projects. This helped Kindness in Action become a real global phenomenon. One of Keanu's key ideas was to create international centers of kindness. These were special spaces where people could find support, learn something new, or just spend time in the company of like-minded people. The first such center opened in Los Angeles and quickly became a popular place for meetings, workshops, and volunteer projects. The centers offered financial literacy classes, psychological trainings, workshops on eco-friendly lifestyles, and much more. Programs for young people were particularly popular, helping them find themselves and develop their talents. Each center also employed curators to help people from different walks of life find resources to solve their problems. Each center had a unique design that reflected the culture of the city where it was located. In Tokyo, it was a space with a minimalist interior inspired by Japanese traditions, and in Rio de Janeiro, it was a bright and open space with panoramic views of the city. Keanu has also actively supported the idea of sustainable development. His hotels and kindness centers have become an example of the use of the latest technologies to preserve the environment. Rainwater harvesting, solar energy, and waste minimization systems were implemented. In addition, the fund financed startups that offered innovative solutions to environmental problems. One of these startups developed low-cost water purification filters that were made available to communities in developing countries. Another project created biodegradable packaging for products that helped reduce plastic waste. Despite the global scope of the projects, Keanu remained directly involved in each initiative. He regularly visited the kindness centers, met with the people who received help, and inspired them to do their own good deeds. His humility and sincerity continued to win people's hearts. In addition, Keanu often spoke at international forums and conferences, where he shared his philosophy of life and talked about the importance of compassion and mutual support. His speeches were always filled with simple but profound ideas that resonated with the audience. Keanu Reeves' initiatives have become a source of inspiration for many other entrepreneurs and thought leaders. People from all over the world began to create their own projects inspired by his example. This domino effect led to the emergence of numerous charitable organizations, educational programs, and environmental startups. One such story was the initiative of a young entrepreneur from Africa who opened a small educational center for children in